Hello, everyone. So, I guess to explain what the stream is, basically, I want to talk about some meta developments that have been happening. I've been posting a lot on my Blue Sky and second channel about it, but I do want to talk a little bit more about it, put it more open to discussion. I'm not going to be too focused on the games. I'm hoping to just farm some licenses in the background, but I guess for right now, I just want to open it up to chat, let you guys give your opinions a bit, or like things you're interested in. And we'll talk about it. Obviously, primarily it should be the new stuff, but anything you want to talk about, we can go for it. As long as it is meta-related, basically. So, talking less about, like, concepts. I'm open to discussing balance changes a bit about specific weapons, if you want. But I want this to mostly be about, you know, what's being tried in the past 2 weeks, what's been working, what hasn't been working, where are things possibly going in the future. Yeah? So, what do y'all want to talk about? That fits that topic. And then in the background, we'll get some licenses in case they drop more third kits sometime, so. Dude, Axe rank, yeah, I just want to play zones. That was an awesome Zuka. I think Tri-Stringer needs a buff to be meta, and why hasn't it gone there yet? Elaborate, why do you think no new weapons need to be 210p? I did not say that. I said that no weapon should be 220p, and I'll have a whole video on that. Tri-Stringer. I think it's possible. I thought I'd be a... I think it's possible that an inkjet buff, if it's significant enough, could allow Tri-Stringer to be used without a buff to the main weapon. I think it's possible, but I think it's extremely unlikely. I think that more than likely Tri-Stringer will need some kind of buff to be used consistently at higher level play. It seems like, well, while the new kit is an improvement, it's definitely still not, like, anywhere near as high up as, like, it wants to be. Even something like L3, which is, I still wouldn't say an amazing weapon, but one that's been proven to be good in previous metas before. Even that with an inkjet is struggling. And that, like, literally did thrive with the same special. Obviously in a different game and stuff like that, but still. Any weapons you think have potential? That's a little too vague. Is Hydra good enough to win? The answer is probably not everywhere, but on a few maps the new Hydra has some potential. I think one of the JP Splatling players played Hydra a tiny bit. I think it was Nigora? I'm not entirely sure. I heard Fuzzy talking about it with Shadow Chimera. So, I know one of them is trying it in extremely niche scenarios, but that's about it. Is the new try better than the old tries? I mean, yeah, I think pretty handily. I think that screen actually, if anything, has more reasons to be... Bro, what the fuck was that? They popped 3 bazookas at the same time, man. What do you want me to do? One of them was behind me and two in front. GG's, dude. That totally lost my train of thought. I think that screen actually has a bit more value lately because mostly Tri-Zuka spam becoming more popular. I think that screen into it is interesting. But I think Tri as a whole just does a very unique thing with the new Tri, which is kind of, it gives more of a reason for shorter range weapons to find some success. Screen is typically better with shorter range sharking weapons. But Tri is also an extremely good anti-rushdown main weapon. Like, this already saw some use before the new Tri kit. For example, Tri Nouveau used to be really popular to pair with Stamper before it's, like, got to 210 health. Because a lot of times that would disincentivize running at the Stamper and keep you at mid-range because the Tri would just kill you for that. And this new Tri is very much in that same vision of, like, okay, if you're fighting a comp and they have a Tri, you now have to be really careful getting up close. But this isn't like a roller, it can still paint decently, it still pokes a bomb, and it still gets a special. And then when it has screen, you have to actually respect it because it can one-tap you out of it. It's like the combo out of screen is very threatening. I'm still not exactly sure what the best comp would try is. Personally, I want to try with Dread a little bit if I ever get the time, just because it's a 40 damage weapon with a 60 damage weapon, which I think has some potential for combos, and that Dread is a weapon that has being rushed down as one of its main weaknesses. So maybe this could be a way to build around that, while Dread's extra range for a support and Crab could cover. But obviously that's just my perspective for, like, you know, thinking about it from a Dread POV. I think either way, did all three of them just die to one shot, and I just died? They had another shot after that. That Zuka just killed 4, I think. GG. So, I think the Try has a lot of potential to be picked. We saw it in the Area Cup. We've seen Kyo picking it in West recently, like for like a week now. He said it's pretty good, but I'm not entirely sure how good Tri-Slosher is, for instance. I would say, like, if we go with my typical tier list of, like, X, S plus S, I'd say it's at minimum in S rank right now. But I'll think about it later for sure. I actually might be good with my Pro comp. Try, Pro, Dread, and, what is it? Try, Dread, Pro, and Mint Stamper? Oh, no, and VDapple. Oh, that is a very short-range comp we could try. I might ask that sometime. Anyway. I feel like the H3 has a lot of potential, but I haven't seen to use it all. Why? I mean, I think the main weapon of H3 is not good enough to be worth picking. I'm not saying it can't win. I'm not confident that it can't win. I'm confident that anyone good enough to win with H3 will understand it's not worth being picked. The new H3 kit is stronger than H3D on paper, but what H3D does a really good job of is giving you ways out if you miss a shot. Like, you have ways to keep yourself alive with H3D, so you don't have to play super perfectly. With the new H3, even though the kit is stronger, if you're being ran down and you miss a bullet, none of them are going to save you. Like, none of them are going to keep you up. Even, like, Splatoon 2 H3, you had MPU, right? You could two-shot people. You had Ink Armor. That could give you more time to fire again. In Splatoon 1, you had Wall and Bubble. H3 in this game doesn't have those tools, or at least not at the same power as it did before, and the game is also far more mobile. So I think H3 as a weapon struggles to keep up. I'm not doing comp rating stuff right now, sorry. What is needed for Reflux to work? Again, I don't really know right now. Reflux is, like, too untested. I'm not sure, like, if it wants another, like, painting frontline, like a Mint that can cover it for a bit. I'm not sure if it wants to play around with ability. I'm not sure if it needs more kill power. I don't know for sure yet. It's kind of hard to say, like, how good it is until people have tested it. Starskid Dynamo, I don't think it's good. Will you be getting on a team? Right now I'm coaching Moonlight. If I get a really good opportunity, I'd consider it, but I don't consider it likely. I'm not, like, actively looking for it. Right now my priorities is trying to find, like, what Dreadringer comps I like. I'm very experimental with trying out anything. I want to get a better grasp of what makes the weapon feel the most powerful. And it's also just, I feel, a bad time to look for a consistent team when the meta is uncertain. Because I want to make something that'd be, like, consistent on a longer scale. So I want to have a better understanding of, like, what would be best for me if I try to get a team like that. Place for Cobra Jet. I've only played against it a little bit from Fuzzy and Ice playing it a little bit. And I'm not entirely sure what anchor it wants to be paired with or what comp you build around it still. I haven't really found many answers for it. It seems like it's a little more awkward than I thought. But the main and burst definitely still get some solid value. I feel like Tri-Slosher also has this, but I definitely feel like the top players are not used to fighting this weapon because it's been absent for over a year syndrome, right? Like, Tri gets a lot of stuff that I feel is just, dude, people forgot how much range Tri-Slosher has, or, like, something like that. I feel like Jet Burst combos are the same thing. It's like people just don't expect that they can get bursted down that quickly by a Jet Sculpture because it just hasn't existed in a while. So, yeah. Please don't spam me in the chat. I don't want you to do that. I'm reading both chats. Again, there's a lot of you. Does Zuka need a nerf or is it points for special problem? I mean, I feel like it's mostly a paint problem. I wouldn't mind, like, a cooldown change in terms of a nerf. But outside of cooldown or points for special, I don't really see, like, much else they could do with it. I feel like it would have to be one of the two, so that's where I'd put it. Like, I could see a cooldown nerf happening instead, but I don't know. I think it's more than likely it just gets to 200p, or even more likely, or not more likely, but equally as likely. I think they could do just straight up nothing. Nintendo might not really give a shit if Mini isn't that broken if it's still a Zuka spammer. That said, I've seen so many screenshots of the Too Many Try-Zukas challenge that are 8 mini lobbies. So maybe they'll get it. Who knows? But, like, Nintendo doesn't always give a shit about if something is unhealthy for the game. Just look at Reef Slider Cheese and, like, the fact that that's still in the game to some degree. If it balances the game more, they tend to be okay with it, even if it's not healthy. Which is not great, but, like, you know, that's how it is. If we know that information, then it's possible that, like, that's just simply the way they go about it right now. If I was playing the other arrow, I could get, like, a Booyah to help with this, but now I have to, like, throw a screen at the zone and then get shot. I guess the Dread can't paint either. Alright. Good enough. Do you think S-Blast is on the same power level before the nerfs? I mean, same, no. Like, it got nerfed. You can't, like, undo that. But I do think it's surviving really well. Like, I'd still say it's probably in an X-tier weapon. Like, it's probably pretty up there. Even if it's worse. Which, if anything, might be a testament to how good old S-Blast was. I know in top player circles there has been a bit of a debate on, like, is S-Blast more broken than Bucket or not before the patch happened, and I think more people thought it was more broken than Bucket, but it definitely wasn't, like, completely one way. But considering how good S-Blast is now, like, after the nerfs, I think that it's fair to say that, yeah, old S-Blast was probably better than Bucket. But right now, I think Bucket's the best weapon in the game. So. One area cup? That's, yeah, I mean, sure, that obviously proves something to some extent, but, like, Lobster has typically won almost every area cup in recent times. It's like, if anything, I think it's more of a testament when he doesn't win, like in the previous one. Still, the Dreadcom put up a good fight this time, for sure. Like, it was close. More than Stamper? I mean, I think for most people, Stamper has been moving down on, like, lists like this, just because, what's it called? What am I trying to say? I totally lost my train of thought. What is it about Stamper? Stamper's just less proven. Like, people aren't doing as well with it. There's only so much opinion you can have on it. Why doesn't Edit see as much use? I mean, I think it's generally seen that Edit isn't as strong as Pen, but we also just don't have a lot of Splatling players. I've talked about this a few times, but, like, ever since Ballpoint dropped off, Edit took, like, a year to be a good option. Wait, I already got my badge. Anyway. Edit took, like, a year to be the best option. So, like, for a while, all the Splatlings were just in a shit spot. And we already didn't have a lot of Splatling players as is, but then we definitely lost a few of them. Like, if you guys remember Storm from New Meta, right? I think they're playing right now, but they're playing the new Zimmy. So, like, we just don't really have as much of the player base. There are some Edit players at, like, +2, +3 level that are climbing, but it's all new players. Basically, all of our old generation top Splatling players don't play the game anymore. We don't have any of them anymore. So, like, it's very much going to be either people who, like, switch to the weapon or just new-gen players who are rising through the ranks to see more Edit in our scene. In Japan, they have a few Edit players. It's definitely less popular, but, like, they exist in a lot more of, like, a notable capacity than our top level of play. I can actually just keep the same Sub-Saber gear. I can just hop back in. What's on the slowdown for Switch 1 players? They need to fix it. There's no other take than that. This should be fixed, and it should be fixed ASAP. I hope we don't have to wait 3 months for the next patch for a fix to this, but, like, Switch 1 got downgraded to an extent that should not have happened, especially if you play Salmon. Is Pencil still the king of backlines? It's too new to know for certain, but probably yes. But it's definitely, like, more competitive than it was before. So I would still say it's not, like, a dominant weapon anymore. I'd also say, like, what is it? I'd say that counterpicking is very important now. There are a lot of short-range maps where Pen players are now having to swap, or at least feel much more incentivized to swap weapons. And so I feel like it's really important to, like, have maps like Urchin, maps like Flounder, that incentivize pen players to pick other guns as, like, tournament maps. Because those directly force you to pick other weapons. We've been seeing, like, Dapple, 96, Rapid, other stuff like that instead, because those maps often force pen players to swap. I think that is healthy. Like, just to be honest. I think it's good for shorter range teams to have a better chance, especially in a game that's so mid-range dominated, that, like, having enough short range maps to really flip that dynamic is very important, I feel like. Does the new Swig see used at all? Omega tried it a little bit, but not really to any major success, so I'd say the answer is a pretty confident no. I don't think Swig is really good at zone cheese either, for the person saying that in Twitch chat. Like, I don't think you pick Swig for zone cheese. There's a billion better zone cheese options. I don't want to splash down zone cheese weapon. Like, it can... I'm not saying it won't ever do that, but I'm saying you would never pick it for that. Or at least, like, not to the same extent you would with, say, a Reef Slider or, like, Double Strike or whatever. Okay, well, my elevator was just stolen from me. Yeah, Cobra Jet's very fun, but I think the Splashdown was still, like... At the end of the day, if, like, Jet has to not be a great weapon in this game, and its design gets back on track because of Cobra Jet, then, like, whatever, that's a win, right? I think the design direction of Jet being corrected was more important than anything else. Because I don't think another unhealthy Jet Sculpture would have been good for the game, given what happened in S2. What's happened with Switch 1? They basically messed with some stuff with some parts of the code that are too technical for me to note about, which meant that Switch 1 basically runs the game worse than it did in 9.3, even though they did adjustments to try to make it better. It's, like, definitely way too weak right now, and it needs to be adjusted. So basically, Switch 1 users are playing a less technically stable version of the game than they were before. Which obviously sucks, right? I don't think anyone's quality of the game should be downgraded like that. Oh, okay. Trade. I discussed Splylings. Yeah, which Splyling? Splylings are like 14 different guns. Is Clans ELTEL ever legal except for 2023 World Champs? I mean, Nintendo can run whatever event maps they want. It wasn't like explicitly not allowed to be picked. It just... Typically, TOs understood not to put it in map lists. Nintendo doesn't care. They'll put whatever in their map list, and so... CB ELTEL typically will appear in a Nintendo event and nowhere else. Hope that'll change with the League thing they announced, though. Maybe they'll do a better map list. Nice. What would it take for Luna to be picked? A third kit could help, but I don't think Luna has particularly bad kit. I think Luna is, like, fine as is. I think that, like, the game is just not... Or not the game, like, more the map design, I guess, and the type of meta doesn't favor it too much, but it's fine if you pick it. I don't really see what they could make better about the weapon without making it annoying for lower level play. Like, they finally did the blast radius stuff. I'm not really sure... like, what else they could possibly do with the weapon. So I feel like Luna is probably fine as is. That was a very passive game for me. What is a third kit? It is the third combination of sub and special a weapon gets. Oh, Tetranade? I mean, Tetra, you could do a few things. You could make it more mobile. You could give it 30 damage so it works with other weapons better. You could give it a new kit, try to give it some different utility. You could buff something like quick respawn that it benefits most from, something like that. I don't think Tetra is, like, bad by any means, but I could see it getting some kind of buff. You could do some other smaller quality of life buff. I'm sure Tetra players will know something more specific. Well, I do more map tactic videos. Okay, this is off topic, but I guess I'll talk about it real quick. I might. I got really burned out of that series, but I might. I should do one for Urchin. You know what? Urchin's so different, I'm probably going to do one for Urchin. How to win Urchin. We'll do that. We'll do Urchin, I'll tell you that. You'll get an Urchin one soon. If 60 FPS makes a game feel laggy to you, then, like, I don't know what to tell you. Input latency is annoying, but I don't think it's, like... I don't think it should ruin the game. If, like, 60 FPS and this amount of input delay is, like, enough to ruin the game for you, then I might just not like the game. Like, it might not be the control scheme at that point. Like, is this stuff annoying? Yeah. Is it make it a bad game? No, like, a ton of games have this. I'll, like, complain about topics like that when it's warranted, but, like, let's not go, like, beyond reason here. Okay, again, chat, just to keep it clear, we're trying to keep discussion to the new weapons and the meta and stuff like that. I don't want to talk too much, like, theoretical concepts and stuff. I want to talk mostly about meta developments that we've been seeing. So, we keep it to topics like that. That's what I'll be focusing on, just to be clear, for those who weren't here earlier. Wow, I got shredded. Is screen relevant? On Try, yes. On Squelcher, maybe, but I don't know. I don't see much of the Squelcher players picking it. But, like, it's still not that different from the other Squelcher kits, so it might happen. I'd say Try, really, is what makes it relevant, though. Like, Try is definitely relevant enough. 2 jets painting the zone, just like old times. Oh. And we lost it. I definitely have a bit of lazy aim right now. Thoughts on the mist buff? I think it was a bad buff. Did it make it better? Yes. Did it make it better in a good way? No. It's just irritating. And it especially is annoying on rain. I think there were better ways of buffing the sub, personally, that I would have liked to see. I mean, as a comp game, Splatoon is totally fine. Like, it wouldn't have the scene it does if it wasn't. So, it's fine if you want it to be better, but, like, you can't say the comp side of it just sucks because of it. Like, no. The comp scene has very clearly been, like, thriving in terms of enjoying the game for a while. I mean, okay. Wanting Mist buffed and a buff being bad is right. If I say I want Reef Slider buffed and they buff Reef Slider by doubling the explosion radius, that can be something I still disagree with. I can want Slider buffed, but not like that. Those can be true at the same time. And like in Slider's case, it literally happened and people hate it, right? It's like, the Mist buff could be the same thing. I want Mist to be buffed. This was a bad way of buffing it. Both can be true. That was definitely not high enough, but I wanted to try. Was consensus with the new Rapid? We haven't even figured out what comps are best with it yet, to be honest. We haven't seen enough of it. It's too hard to say. What I will say is its lack of popularity so far is probably less of a good sign for it, but it's probably still pretty good. It could also just be less popular off of the fact that a lot of people already play with Pen, and so the Blaster players probably don't have a reason to swap, especially if they can play S-Blast, and most of them have been playing S-Blast, so a lot of them will probably just S-Blast and Pen. Unless they have a reason to pick the Rapid. Is new mini the best Zuko weapon? Undoubtedly, yeah. I think that's very fair to say at this point. Oh, didn't even do the way I thought it would. Oh, wow. Is that Gal? Oh, it's Pro. Okay. Overall opinion on Rust Wiper? I don't really see why you would play it over V-Wiper for the most part, but it's fine. Like, it's a slightly better special, but a much worse sub. And that's it. That's it. Like, for Wiper, Hammer works pretty fine. I don't think it needed curling, but, like, the suction on it is not bad. Oh, one shot. I'm gonna choke it. Damn. Being forced into a control scheme that's disadvantaged makes it bad. I mean, if your complaint is like the stick controls, that's fair. I don't think that makes the game itself automatically bad, though. Like, for example, I can't mash for shit, right? So if I played Smash Ultimate, I would get absolutely screwed over certain matchups. And I think that it shouldn't be a thing. And I think that mash requirements are an outdated mechanic. But would I say Smash Ultimate is a bad competitive game because it has some mashing requirements that I can't do? No. I don't think that would be a fair comment to say. Should they add more control schemes? Absolutely. Mouse controls will hopefully help with that. But stick controls are complicated because you can't just go, oh, we'll just give it some aim assist, because then you're going to get into the aim assist debates. I don't know if you've been around other shooter communities, but aim assist is generally a pretty hot topic. Smash Ultimate is a bad competitive experience. Okay, my point is not, is Smash Ultimate a good or bad competitive experience? I don't mean to start that debate. What I'm saying is, you can't say the mashing requirements alone make it a bad experience. It's not large enough of a factor to make that be the reason. Now, if you think Steve or Game & Watch or whatever kills the game, whatever, I don't care. I don't know enough to, like, have a solid opinion on that, really, right? My point is that just that part of the game, while it can be argued as a downside, and in my opinion it is not enough to detract from the game's merits. Similarly, I think the limited stick controls for Splatoon, while again, a fair downside, and there should be more control schemes and options for it, does not on its own make Splatoon a bad competitive game. That's it. So I'm not saying it isn't a problem, I'm just saying it's not like that. Yeah, more like flick stick would be great if they want to add flick stick. I don't know if that's helpful for stick players. Higher sensitivity. Being able to customize like your vertical and horizontal sends, anything like that would be awesome. For sure. Alright, what weapon are we on now? I guess this one. Funny how all these bad weapons or mediocre weapons have like a sub I can invest in. Do you think they need to remove some weapons in Splatoon 4? Need to? No. Should they? Maybe. What are the odds they remove the few problematic main weapons from the game and not something that they should? Probably not good, so I'd rather just keep all of them. I'd rather have another game with Nova or with GooTuber if it means that all the other cool weapons get to stay in the game. The risk is just a lot. Which is why instead I try to talk about reworking if possible. But yeah, again, I don't mean to dismiss the problems if you have, like, issues with the shooter controls, or not the shooter, with the stick controls. That's totally valid. I just don't think it's fair to, like, take that and use it to detract from the game as a whole, like, to that extent. That's all. Anything with Camo Char? I saw, Q post her opinions on it. Let me see if I can find it, actually. Because I felt like it summed it up well. Basically said that the Crab Charger sounded like a better kit in the moment, but it's lackluster, clunky, and possibly worse than ZF. Because you don't have wall, and Crab can mess with the playstyle. They said they could see it on bluefin zones. That was Q's opinion on it. Which I think is fair. I watched, like, a bit of the Crab Charger in Area Cup, and my issue with it was, like... What is it? I felt like the main weapon of Charger would just get walled out by Pen. I feel like wall is a good answer to that problem, because, you know, Pen doesn't do shit to wall. But, like... What does this one do? It doesn't really have as much of an answer. I think the Crab playstyle mesh could be worked around, but I do think that, like, yeah, with the Sprinkler and less range than Leader, it's going to be harder to work around it. At the end of the day, Leader is seeing some success, and if Leader is being picked over the other Chargers, and Leader has a significantly worse kit, then, well, it might say something about the gap between Leader and Charger as main weapons in this game. Damn, Swig is broken. Wait, Booyatech? Booyatech! Swig is OP. Never mind, guys. Everything I said about Swig earlier when you asked is wrong. This weapon is Hidden Gem. No, I messed it up. Rip. Do you think Veedapple and Crab Etiquette see niche use? I don't see why you wouldn't... I mean, I guess you could pick it if you want Crab on your edit. But I feel like a lot of the appeal is Veedapple is running a very aggressive comp. I don't see why you would slot an edit with it. Right? Like, I feel like it's missing the point of picking Veedapple in the first place. You could still do it, but, like... I don't really think you need that. I think the idea you're going to pick with Veedapple would typically not involve an edit. Oh, not a bank. Nice. Does a delay message with you play other games on PC and go back to Splatoon? I mean, I'm familiar. Yeah. I have played PC shooters. But, like, I don't think it's as big a deal as you're saying. Or at least, like, it isn't for me, you know? If you feel differently about it, like, that's fine. That's your experience. But I know a lot of, like, top-level comp players also play other PC shooters. A lot of Valorant players, to be specific. A lot of Marvel Rivals players, especially. It turns out Splatoon transfers very well to Marvel Rivals. I would love to see if I could transfer to it, but my PC can't even run it, so, you know, rip me. I could run 120 FPS Overwatch ages ago, but I can't run Marvel Rivals at all, so... Apparently Unreal Engine 5 just really does require all the stuff. It's like all good. Maybe if the game's still good when I upgrade my PC eventually, maybe I'll take a look. If anything, it's kind of interesting to see a PC shooter that Splatoon players do actually transfer well to. Because I feel like the skill sets for Splatoon are very different than traditional PC shooters generally. Or at least the pacing issues are just very different. I love that splashdown spot over the wall. People do not expect it. It's really good for Expo. Expo stands up there a lot. Wow, that wasn't 35 range. It's probably for the better that it wasn't, but it was still a little surprising. Oh, we got the bump combo too. Nice. I run 360 FPS. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't see much people playing 360 FPS, so... I don't know what to tell you there. But if your expectations are going to be, like, 360 FPS shooters, I feel like that's going to be tough to find anywhere but PC. As far as I'm aware, like, the highest I typically see people play is, like, 300 FPS, maybe 240. Somewhere around there. I don't think I've seen anything higher than 300. What? That missed? That's crazy. I had to have aimed too far down. Yeah, I mean, Splatoon 4 should be 120. If they could run 4K 60 Splatoon 3, I'd imagine Splatoon 4 can run 1080. 1080 120 FPS. I was so tempted to use this on zone, but I really want the kills on the painters. Come on! Nice. There we go. Marvel Rival and Switch 2. Honestly, it has a better chance of running there than it does on my PC, so. Plus that I could play like motion maybe. So I'd probably prefer that. I mean, Splatoon being on PC has far larger implications than that, but like, I don't think it's a feasible thing to expect. I don't think I got the badge yet, so I think I'm putting it. Chara's PC is powered by a hamster wheel. Those who were there for that one stream know. You all know what I am talking about. The horrors. The absolute horrors. What kind of comps does Chara like? I'm not exactly sure. I think it's been just slotted in with more traditional stuff, frankly. It seems good with Dually Sculpture, though. From what I've seen. Just kind of baits for it, like how it would with Roller. Does enough damage to combo with the 2-shot with Sculpture. Makes sense. Is that all the weapons we have to discuss today, chat? We already threw them all? Hope YouTubers make noise about Switch 1 performance. Richowski just did a really good video on it. I highly recommend you look it up. I think it's called, like, we need to talk about Splatoon 1 Salmon Run or something like that. Or Switch 1 Salmon Run, something like that. I might even just have the video up. No, I don't. But you can just look up Richowski for a Salmon Run creator. They are very good. I'd recommend checking them out. I think the video already has like 12K views, and it was made like yesterday. Yeah, I'm playing on Switch 2, but I got Switch 2 a little late, so I played on OLED for like a tiny bit on this update, and even I had some lag spikes. And I'm on OLED, not OG Switch 1. Because my OG Switch 1's battery got a little too large, and it could not be saved. Or maybe it could have, but I didn't successfully save it. So. Wish there was somewhere to use like TSD on a hold here. Isn't really much to do besides throw Torp right now. I could like squid roll and go for a splashdown, but that doesn't seem worth. So my bloating Switch on Nintendo and they gave you a new one for free? I probably should have done that, huh? I tried to like do a battery kit removal manually, but the battery was so stuck on there we couldn't get it off. And it just ended up like snapping a wire or something from trying to. So it probably could have just been me being bad at it for sure. But it was also pretty like damn stuck on there, so. I think we also just got to it late. I really didn't notice it until it started making actual noise. Which, like, a lot of noise. In which, yeah, I probably should have noticed the problem sooner. Either way, I was fine with the OLED upgrade, to be honest. I used it for about 2 years. I should hopefully be able to sell it. I'm gonna need it until September anyway. Because LANs are still Switch 1 only. That'll be true for Riptide as well, so. I mean, I'm gonna be using it anyway. Which, honestly, I'm a little worried how I'm gonna do. I already have problems at LANs because of my hearing being sensitive and the setup I have to use to accommodate that, but the controller stuff, like, I definitely play better on Switch 2 controller. Though, to be fair, part of it is, I just have really bad wireless interference issues. And for whatever reason, my Switch 2 Pro controller just doesn't have that problem. That and another controller I might talk about at a later date also do not have that problem. Just hoping that would make it up. Just trying to make sure we kill this slider cheese guy. Dude, where's their team? Nice. You played wired? I played wired and wireless, but I preferred wireless. Apparently the input delay is in there, so it's just a matter of personal preference, it seems. What if you tried the old S1 AoE comp but with new Rapid Dread? I don't know what comp you're referring to. How do you learn what weapons play with other weapons? Look for things like damage number, paint value, range, whatever you're building around. Just pick an idea and try to specialize into it. Generally would be my advice. Alright, well we got a few badges today, so not bad. Can Dread still play on dive comps? I mean, when it plays with, like, the rapid dually stuff, that's typically what it's doing, so, yeah. I think it's a different role than V-Dread would be in those, because it's not really to accelerate the comp, it's just to have a crab support. Chara, why do you not talk to the cat? I don't have a cat. I don't know what you're talking about. Is there any other weapon I can play? Get, like, one more license? Dynamo Splash Dread Explo. Dynamo's still shit. Explo is mid. And Splash and Dread is double crab. So, probably no. That comp was more for fun, to be honest, in the first place. But, like, it's probably remaining in the for fun. Sorry, chat. Could I get a game win with red pen? I'd get a license for it if we get a KO. Let's go for it. CKK, thank you for the prime. Dynamos and no weaknesses. Let's not talk about this any further. Screen any good on the right weapons? It's fine. What do you bind your back buttons to? Alright, here they are. Ready? Ready? Here's my back buttons. I put them on the same thing, okay? Don't worry, they do the exact same thing. There you go. That was the back buttons. You just heard me pressing them next to the mic. You can see exactly what they did. Yeah, nothing. They don't. I didn't map them to anything. Could Ash try and charcoal? I don't really see why you do charcoal over mint. Setting up a bubble through the screen seems like a lot better. I feel like screen would get in Jetpack's way. Maybe you could see over it a bit easier, I guess. I don't know. Probably fine. Alright, I love that team enthusiasm rolling into the battle. We're gonna need it, because they have 2 coolers and we scored 0. They also probably have a much better pencil, but I believe in you, chat. By chat, I mean my team. Alright, we got a kill. That is the Zuko. wanted to make sure we got some. What? I thought the bubble would block me there. Dang, I think it shrunk a tiny bit. I don't have stealth, and they have double Zimmy, double cooler. Or double Zuka, double cooler. Oh, nice! We got an assist on the TSD. Go, team, walk in. Nice. Oh, we're doing so good. Just want to make sure no one, like, sneaks behind either. Nice! Nice! Hold on! I have rain pains! Pains! Yes! We killed the Zuka guys! See, I told you it'd be fine. The red pen is fine. We'll take it. That's another license earned. We gained points on our random weapons today. That's amazing. And there's our last license. All right. I think that's about everything. Chat, thanks for watching.